Going across to our guest, Darshan Desai is General Secretary of the Bharatiya Janata Yuva Morcha in Bangalore. Aishwarya Mahadev is from the Congress Party from the state. B.S. Arun is senior journalist and Sridhar Prabhu is a political analyst joining us. Darshan Desai, I'm beginning with you. There is so much anger, and this isn't the first hate killing or political murder that has happened in the state of Karnataka. There is a lot of anger against you from your own, including your Yuva Morcha leaders themselves. Have you not woken up a little too late to be promising all of this action, the heaven and earth?
See, first of all, the outrage of our Karyakartas is not against the party, but it is against this system that has been protecting, these radical elements.
But your party is in power. You run the system.
Yes, madam, we run the system, correct. But then the government has to work in a certain framework. And I am rest assured, I can vouch for it, that it will be our party and our government that will serve justice to Praveen and to all our Karyakartas who have been killed inhumanely by these radical Islamists.
Darshan, my question was precisely this. This isn't the first time we've seen hate killings or political murders or, rivalries between religious groups play out in Karnataka. This situation has been brimming for a while. Why were you waiting for your own party leaders to be so upset and then wake up?
Madam, during the Congress regime of Sri Siddaramaiah, over 1,600 SDPI and PFI Karyakartas were let out scot-free. Out of these, almost around 175, the police suggested the government that, it will be a difficult task if you let such radical people outside. But the government, the Siddaramaiah government didn't heed, and they went ahead and, let these people out, because of which, after which, back to back, there were murders that were happening in coastal Karnataka. In Mysuru, Sharath Madiwala was murdered in Mangalore, in the same district where we are seeing Praveen's murder today. The Congress government, to appease the minorities, when they let all these people out, all these radical elements were let on the road.
Congress has not been in power for a while, Darshan. You cannot blame the Congress rules, actions or misactions for what is happening today. My precise question is that you've been in power for enough period to, put the system into shape. Otherwise, what's the point of being in power?
Our party and our leaders are taking all possible measures, and justice will definitely be served. You have to just give us some time. We have a cavity of 70 years that has to be filled, 70 years of misrule that has to be filled. It is happening, it will happen, and justice will definitely be served.
All right. Aishwarya, please respond to the specific charges he's made on the Congress misrule versus what they're having to deal with. And there are other leaders of the BJP who've also said that this is not just a Karnataka situation. This is playing out across the country where radicals and fanatics, especially from a particular religion, have been made to feel that they can, just cock a snook as far as the Indian state is concerned. It has happened in Congress-ruled states too.
Good evening, Shivani. I think one thing I want to emphatically state here is that the state owes a responsibility to every single person, irrespective of caste, creed, and faith.
Yes.
And they owe justice to anybody who has basically, because of a communal angle, has lost his life. And today the youngsters in my state are becoming cannon fodder. And I really feel bad that Darshan has to come here and justify that, because his government has been in power for 4 years. But obviously he's blaming what happened in the previous Congress regime. A few very pointed rebuttals to what he's saying. 1 second, sir. I didn't interrupt you. I did not interrupt you. Please do me the same courtesy. Shivani, the singular fact remains today that first, there is a massive law and order problem in this state. There is a rise in crimes, there is a rise in riots. I can even show you the statistics of the same. And because of which the government has completely failed. One thing the Congress has very strongly said, that anybody who has lost their life, the culprit should be brought to book, should be brought to justice, and should have the strictest punishment. Now, what Darshan is talking about, right? He's talking about a situation in 2015 where which T.B. Jayachandra himself, who was the law minister, then clarified and said that none of these people in that situation were actually aiders or abettors of any of the violence, but were part of the procession and whatnot. And if you want to talk about one particular community, if you look at the 3,000 odd cases, over 2,000 plus people of them happen to be from a majority community, while over 300 of them only come from a another one. And BJP, very simple. If the Congress government had failed, if the Congress government had completely abdicated its responsibility, when was that? In 2018-19, when you toppled our government. Since then, you have had a free reign. You have a government. The Dakshin Kannada, Uttar Kannada and Udupi districts of the coastal Karnataka are completely manned by the BJP, every single MLA. So tell me, is it not an abdication of responsibility of your single party there? And Tejasvi Surya comes and says, oh, they're in government, otherwise we would have thrown stones. The problem is this state is a communal laboratory today because there is no development, there is no employment, there's a 40% corrupt commission-run government.
Okay, I have a question for you, Aishwarya, but I'll let Mr. Desai respond to what you've said for 30 seconds. Yes, Darshan.
See, factually, we have to state correct figures when we are on national television. T.B. Jayachandra, who was the law minister, when he decided to let all these people go, the police suggested that 175 of them are dangerous and they shouldn't be let out. It is a documented report. Despite that, the government, as their agenda of minority appeasement, ensured that all these guys were let out. That apart, just look at the number of Karyakartas who were murdered during the Congress regime and Siddaramaiah regime. Over a dozen Karyakartas were murdered. Today, our Congress spokesperson is sitting here and telling us that, justice has to be served. What about the families and what about the justice that has to be delivered to over a dozen Karyakartas who were killed during the Siddaramaiah government?
Okay. Aishwarya, I think the charge of minority appeasement continues to be leveled at the Congress party. Now, you look at the Bengaluru riots from 2019, for example, some of your own were targeted in that. But the Congress party's response against fanaticism of this kind, if it's from a particular community, is always lacking. And I'm talking about more recent events also across the country.
Shivani, I'll answer you and then I'll answer exactly what Darshan said. So first and foremost, this entire idea of this bogey of minority appeasement, when we talk about an equitable society, where the BJP believes even catering to sections of society which are not who they pander to, is a massive crime, is a completely unjust concept in a country or a democratic country like India. One. Second, whoever it is, whenever it is, if there is the first people who asked for strong, strict action were people from my party, irrespective of caste, creed, whether it is to be taken action against whoever. A crime is a crime is a crime. And the BJP will keep mounting this bogey again and again, but they also talk about us not being strict, right? Past 4 years, they have had the power. They should have banned these organizations they're talking about so much. There was a pointed question in Parliament from Tejasvi Surya himself saying, why don't you ban the PFI? Are there any plans to do it? And the Parliament itself, and this is a double engine sarkar, mind you, said no, we cannot do it. Now, second to what Darshan is talking about, all of this comes from a letter written by Shobha Karanlaje to Rajnath Singh, talking about how Hindu Karyakartas were brutally murdered by jihadi elements under the Siddaramaiah government. Each and every one of those deaths, except for 4 or 5, which appropriate action was taken, almost all the other deaths were not for communal reasons. And Mr. Ramling Reddy, 1 second, so I did not interrupt you. Give me that courtesy. Mr. Ramling Reddy went on air and specified and gave out as Home Minister and even said, if you talk about it again because you're false, we will file a case against all of you. They stopped talking about it till now.
Okay.
Now elections are coming up and they'll talk about it
well,
again.
Well, the heat is definitely on the BJP. That cannot be